Welcome to PowerGenius Home Energy Management System Certified Installer Training. In this module we are going to look at scoping the installation so that we can clearly understand and deliver a great experience for the customer. So we'll be looking at how to correctly scope and specify the customer's requirements and individual needs. Let's begin by understanding that every customer is different. They use energy differently, and they have a different size solar array, and they have different appliances, and every appliance is different in the way that it is used. Some things that you want to look for especially will be distances between the PowerGenius devices. Are there metal switchboards involved in the installation? Are there metallic structures that might obstruct the wireless range or the wireless signal? And what sort of unique appliance usage does the customer have as opposed to other customers that you may have installed? One good question to ask the customer around wireless range is, does the Wi-Fi network in their home work really well, or do they have problems? An example of unique appliance usage will be the dishwasher. Are they wanting to run the dishwasher one cycle per day or two cycles per day, one in the overnight and one during the day? That will make a difference to how you configure the dishwasher controller, for instance. And photos, take lots and lots of photos of the areas that you're going to be installing into. So once you've done the scope and you're going back to do the installation, understand the scope clearly again. So you may not have done the scope yourself. Read the scoping document and then discuss it with the customer. And when you're doing the scope, make it clear with the customer exactly how the PowerGenius system will work, and then write it down. Write stuff down. Write lots of stuff down. Then look at the scoping document. Go through the map, walk around it with the customer if required or if that's suitable, and then once you are both clear on what is going to happen, then you can go ahead and do the installation. A good question I found for customers is to say, this is my understanding of what I'm doing here today, and then say, is there anything that I've missed out or extra that you would like to discuss? And then that gives the customer an opportunity to say, oh, well, the salesperson mentioned this or that, or remember you talked about doing something over here. So it gives the customer an opportunity to be involved in the conversation around how the system's going to operate. So let's look at scoping a hot water cylinder. The hot water cylinder should have a standard resistive element, so it should be a direct electric element immersed into the hot water cylinder, not a hot water heat pump system. So make sure that the hot water cylinder doesn't have a heat pump attached to it. We're not controlling the heat pump in our minimum viable product. That is an integrator level installation. And so you will need to go through training for being able to control heat pumps and being able to specify heat pump control. Also make sure it's not a solar thermal hot water system, so it doesn't have thermal panels on the roof that heat the water already. If it does, then you can still control the resistive element using the PowerGenius system, but the problem is that it may not work as efficiently because the solar hot water is still working as well to heat the water. So in that situation, if the solar hot water system is very old, then it may end up being obsolete shortly or may not be doing a very good job of heating the water anyway. So also check, is the cylinder inside or is it outside? If it's outside, then you will require the waterproof enclosure. So you're going to need to note that and order the correct enclosure with the hot water controller. Is the cylinder a single element cylinder or is it dual element? Does it have an element halfway up If it's a dual element, this will require a little bit of extra installation effort and time. Not a lot, but it is also more efficient at optimizing the customer's energy consumption when the PowerGenius controller can have access to both elements. And take photos again. Take photos of the cylinder, the cupboard space around the cylinder. Make sure you get a photo of the TPR valve and the tempering valve. Those two legal requirements sometimes are not installed on every hot water cylinder. Let's look at scoping a swimming pool filter pump. So make sure that the filter pump's not already being controlled by the pool's controller, for instance for chemical dosing or other reasons that the pool pump must be controlled by the controller. If it is controlled, then check with the customer and the pool supplier or maintenance person if it's okay for the PowerGenius to take control of the pump. And then confirm the minimum required filtering times with the customer and write these down again, and have a discussion around whether the pool pump needs to filter every single day, for instance for 6 hours, or whether it could be stretched over, say, a 4-day period. So you could program in a minimum filtering time of 24 hours over a 4-day period to achieve the same effect, but then the PowerGenius system will inhibit the pool pump if there's not enough solar or too much other load going on, and then cause it to run when there's excess solar, so then you can optimize using the pool pump over a series of days rather than daily. Also check for good wireless communications. Often the pool pump is outside, far away, in a shed somewhere, and highly likely that that shed is constructed of metal or sheet metal. Measure the distance and then allow for an extra antenna or an extension antenna to be installed, or maybe a repeater out in the pump house if needed. If you're wanting to control a dishwasher or a washing machine, you need to first make sure that the appliance is suitable for use with the PowerGenius. The way the PowerGenius works is to turn the power off to the appliance and then turn the appliance back on when there's enough solar available. To check this, you must start the appliance running in its normal cycle, turn the power off to the appliance, wait for 1 minute, and then turn the power back on again. If the appliance continues its normal cycle, then you can control it with the PowerGenius. Also make sure the switch is readily available so the customer can do this in normal usage. Use your PowerGenius sales test kit to check a couple of things. One is if the customer's router is communicating with the PowerGenius portal. Sometimes there might be a firewall blocking it, so plugging your gateway in and then checking on your internet device, which is probably your phone or laptop, check that that updates. As soon as you plug that in, it should update within about 10 to 30 seconds. Then take your test kit repeater, power it up next to where the hot water cylinder is and also next to where the distribution board is, where any other PowerGenius devices are going to be installed, and then ping the repeater from your dashboard and check that you get a reasonably good ping. If you don't have a sales test kit, please give us a call on 0800 POWGEN or 1800 POWGEN, depending which country you're in. Also, if you have any doubts about the wireless range or the construction of the building, then it's better to specify a network repeater, either a USB repeater or a solar network repeater for outdoors. Specify one or two of those in the scope, and you're better off to quote the customer a higher price and then give them a discount than have to go and install a network repeater and try and get more money out of the customer later on. So specify network repeaters whenever there's any doubt.